All right, so this is probably my favorite video that I'm recording so far because it's the most personal one where I'm talking about my experience and I'm sharing basically what I did in my journey, um, scrolling a scaling a business over the past year or so. And in this video, I want to talk about growing a business without an audience, how I grew my business to a six-figure business at 16, 17 when I started my SaaS with no audience, with no contacts in that business, with no past experience. So before we jump in, I want to clarify my business did not do six figures in revenue so far yet. I'm sure we're gonna get there. But considering our annual recurring revenue, past exit offers, past angel investment offers, and all of that, it's pretty safe to say and assume that it's a business valued at over six figures. So just putting that out there before we jump in. But basically, um, at this point, you guys are probably wondering what's behind this yellow box right here with the question mark. If it's a secret that could help you guys grow that business that you're working on without any audience. And there are a few methods that you can do to achieve that. In this video, I'll show you exactly how I did it, and we'll talk about some other methods as well. So if we take this box away, you'll see that here we have a stripe chart. Firstly, with our MRR since I started the business, which was early 2023 to this day. And as you can see, we're keeping our revenue confidential and everything. It's strictly for personal reasons, but you can see clearly something happened around this point. The revenue has been stagnating, growing pretty steady with dips and so on, and something happened right here, where the revenue, this was early 2024, so beginning of this year, revenue just started skyrocketing to the point where if we go a bit below, you guys will see that we grew almost 500% when I took that decision to leverage someone else's audience. So I started asking myself, what's the point of owning 100% of nothing? Because yes, it was cool. It was all my business. And it was doing a revenue that was giving me a comfortable life to spend money as a teenager and this and that. But I realized that it's going nowhere because I can't properly scale this. So in late 2023, what I did helped me grow this revenue by this much. So you can see that January 1st this year compared to the last 6 months, so our current 6 months compared to the last 6 months, our revenue is up 481%. And this is exactly what I did to get that skyrocketing in terms of revenue and everything. So it all started with this YouTube video. And as you can see here, I'm in the thumbnail. It's a podcast episode with this guy that's really close to me right now, Dustin, that eventually he became my partner. And this is a really funny story. So if I click on this video, let me just move this away. If I click on this video and we go on the YouTube channel, you'll see that this is a podcast episode with an old me, bad quality in terms of the camera and everything else. But I was persistent because I wanted to get to my audience. And Dustin had a pretty big audience of a few thousands of people on his YouTube, on his LinkedIn. So I applied to be on his podcast. I didn't hear from him for a few weeks maybe because obviously 17-year-old, he already has veterans that he has to interview. But I reached out. I told him like, oh, I have this tool. And just to give you guys some context, our tool helps companies find affiliates, influencers, partners, and so on. So he had this podcast specifically for affiliate managers and for partnership managers where he's talking directly to that audience. So I instantly knew like, okay, this is the guy that I want to represent my product and to share my product. Like I want to see if his audience will enjoy it. So I messaged him. I told him, oh, I built this small tool, AI tool that helps affiliate managers, agencies, and businesses find affiliates and partners. And to my surprise, I got a reply. That reply was like, "Oh, I'll check this out. Give me a free account." I instantly created him the free account, and he really liked the tool, which was surprising for me. But at the same time, I did expect that because I knew we built something really cool. Um, so what happened then? He was like, "Oh, let's schedule a slot for the podcast." We recorded the podcast, we recorded a demo, and his audience instantly loved it, which turned into a lot of sales for. So we got an agency customer, we got a few more demos and so on. So that converted into revenue, which from here, basically, we had, like, I knew that, okay, this guy has the audience to bring sales, to bring money. So at that point, the decision was super easy for me. So I was like, somehow, I'm not sure how, but I gotta bring Dustin. So I gotta bring Dustin to the Alpha Stash team. So obviously, me being a solo founder, everything, I didn't have much budget, so I knew that I couldn't pay him as an influencer for sponsorships. But he really liked the tools. He really liked the fact that I was young, and he was like, "Oh, I could be an advisor for this." So his initial thing was like, "Oh, I'll be an affiliate. I'll be an advisor. This and that." So then what I did, I was like, okay, I'll take a risk and I'll give him revenue share and equity and see what happens. Because at that point, the revenue wasn't that much for me for the risk to be that high. And I also knew that he could bring a lot to the table, which he eventually did. So I offered him the deal. I was like, this much revenue, this much equity, and all you have to do is taking care of the content and marketing and spreading this to your audience and to your network. Obviously, it was an easy decision for him as well because he already liked the tool. He already had the community, so he knew that there's money to be made here. So basically, that's how he began being my partner for this business. And I like to basically make this into a 3-step process that you guys could follow as well. So the first step is solve a problem for a specific audience. So the problem that we solved with AlphaStash, which is pretty simple, and I'll show you how this worked for me, especially, was affiliate recruitment automation, affiliate slash influencer recruitment on automation. That's the problem that we solved. What is the audience in that case? Well, it's pretty easy. It's affiliate managers, it's influencer marketing managers, it's agencies that's what they do all day. They gotta recruit and find more affiliates for their brands, for their clients, for their contacts. So that's the problem that I solved. So with this software, the market is insanely big, right? So you have SaaS, e-commerce, service businesses, digital products, they all want affiliates. And there are millions of affiliate managers. I just didn't have the access to them. I tried running email campaigns in the past and we booked a few demos, but I didn't know like the nitty gritty of closing the sales and all of that because I was a technical guy. Like I knew how to build this product and make it a really solid and good product, which eventually turned out in good conversions. So this is the first step and how I did it. Now, for you, it can be anything, right? Maybe you're building a CRM for dentists. Maybe you're building a tool for skaters or who knows. But you got to find people who have access to that audience. So again, who's my audience here? I want to get you guys the exact steps. So my audience was audience ICP, ideal customer profile, however you want to call it. It was affiliate slash partnerships slash influencer managers marketing, actually. Right. So this was my target audience. And this is, as you can see, it's a super niche target audience. I didn't know exactly where I could find these guys, but I started researching blogs, podcasts, YouTubers that post about this kind of stuff. And that's how I came across Dustin, which was like such a blessing in disguise. It probably saved the business. Otherwise, I could have probably closed it or sold it. So this is who the target audience was, and how you can discover these people that have access to your target audience. They don't necessarily have to be your co-founders. Now, if you can make them your co-founders, that's great. But if not, just get them to your affiliate program, get them to your partnership program. And you can do that through Affistash, because that's exactly what we do. We use AI to help you find those people that are talking to your target audience, and that have access to your target audience without you having to manually search. Or you can go out there and start talking to people. And some suggestions of who could be the people that are talking to your target audience, where there's a ton of options. So it can be groups, communities, it can be influencers, it could be newsletters or bloggers. So these are like just like a few examples. Podcasts, you get the point. All you got to do from here, once if you have a good product and everything, all that you got to do is what you have here in step 3: offer them a deal that they can't refuse. And that can be really complicated to nail, because everybody has a price, right? And especially in the beginning, you don't have a big budget. You don't have tens of thousands to spend on partnerships, influencers, affiliates, and so on. So you might as well have to give up equity, how I did it, for example. But keep in mind that long term, it can take your company to the next level. So step 3, how I like to call it, and I think this is a pretty famous saying from Alex Hormozy, from what I've heard, is offer them a deal that they can't refuse. For Dustin, I tried to structure a deal where both of us were really comfortable, right? And both of us knew that we could get value from this. And it just turned out to work great, because he knew that he had the audience to make money off of this. And if you build something great, people that have these audiences will see the gold mine in this. So of course, you have to have a great product, and you have to have some validation. When I reached out to these people that accessed my audience, I already had some traction. I already had some customers that liked the product. I already had some feedback. Now, the product wasn't perfect. It's still not to this day. We're working on it 24/7, but it still had that initial traction. So now you might be asking, okay, but how do I build a good product? How do I know that I solved the problem? And that's a topic for another video. It's probably something that I'll talk about in the next video, on how I used market validation to build a product, what I used in terms of like getting my first user feedback and everything else. But hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely one of my favorite to record. If you want to talk to me, or if you want to try Affistash to see if it can help you find those potential partners or distributors for your software, or for your business in general, it doesn't have to be SaaS. It can be e-commerce. It can be whatever. You can go to affistash.com/Vic. You can book a slot here and talk to me. It's completely free. I'd be happy to meet you guys that watch the YouTube content. I would love to do that. But anyway, that's it for today's video. Stay tuned for weekly uploads, and hope you found this useful. See you in the next one.